Man has no more to do with the movements that he thinks he performs than a piano does with the beautiful melodies extracted from its core by the hand of the master musician. Let me explain. The body is an instrument composed of matter. The piano is an instrument composed of matter. Behind the piano sits the artist, or the man, who, after building the piano, now uses it for his purposes. Without the artist, the piano would not have come into existence. It would be nothing but inert structures of wood, ivory, and steel strings. Now reverse your field of perception. Without the piano, the artist could not express to the world the beautiful tones, harmonies, frequencies, and melodies flowing through his or her body. He or she could not express the sweet dulcet tones of a bird, or the flowing brook, the wind as it touches the leaves of a tree, the laughter of children, or the thunderous music of a storm. This analogy is perfect to describe what the temple of man is and the Spirit of God is. So thus the temple of man is nothing more than the aggregate of what it is that the Spirit, in its own intelligence and mandate, brings into manifestation. And here's where we get ready to go, because right now we have someone who has just shook up the whole academic community.
That's right.
Because he has now brought God into the equation.
Yes.
Let me say that again. Scientists and their laboratories are devoid of God. They look again to reduce the world into these descriptions of the world. And thus, by that description, affix an egotistical application of themselves to that world, thus leaving God out of the principle. The human organism, like the piano, has nothing to do with its archetypal formation, design, organization, construction, and function. We are cosmic instruments forged by the grand architect, the master musician. Our brains, for example, do not produce thoughts, contrary to popular theories. That which we define as the brain is only a material medium through which the quality or energy we call thought is expressed. Behind thought is the power that produces thought. Behind the brain is the power that created the brain. And having produced the brain, now uses it for its purpose. Overstand and understand. Wait. I'm not doing anything yet. I'm just building it up. This is why the metaphysical hygienist overstands and teaches that the cosmic machine we identify as man is not life. You see, man lives not because he lives, but because vital intelligent force flows in waves through his temple. It is the life that quickens the living. Yet life is no more confined to the form that it quickens. Listen to me carefully. Life is no more confined by and to the form that it quickens than a tree is confined to its shadow. Life is no more a byproduct or of the body of man than the sun is a part of its reflection on the surface of the earth. If the earth did not exist, there would be no reflection of the sun's rays, but that would not affect or eradicate the sun itself. Human life begins its individual existence the moment that the tiny gametes composing this tiny organism are separated into their constituent particles and rearranged to construct a separate entity. This very process shows that animals are not life itself, but are animated particles of matter consolidated by life into definitive forms. Again, to the ancient adept masters of chem, one who now sits beside us, man is not life, man is a temple, a cosmic machine of higher intelligence through which life itself operates on dimensional waves of destiny and density. Life thus continues its operation in the flesh as long as the form complies with the laws governing animated existence. Another example, our use of electricity and how we conduct it for our daily lives. When we send a current through a wire, we say that the wire is live. Switch off the current and the same live wire becomes a dead piece of copper, a dead wire, a dead piece of matter that can do nothing. Thus we see that the machinery called man is no more alive than the copper wire. Man makes use or makes wire to conduct and convey electrical forces for the purpose of performing specific works. Well, beloved, the omniscient divine architect, the cause of causes, the iron, created man, the atum, that it may express itself through man, to operate through man as the musician artist plays the piano to express himself and to convey his feelings. Now, here we are. Now, the question for Dr. Oyibo, because this is going to be rare. Remember, you're sitting here in history. I want you to understand where you are. You know, I'm just, you know, if I had a hair on it, I'd be standing on end. In the matter of immortality and spiritual or dimensional transcendence, is there a conflict? Are these two principles, immortality and spiritual transcendence, paradoxical? Is physical immortality in direct conflict or opposition to spiritual or dimensional transcendence? Since by cosmic law, to transcend it should mean that the present body, if this be the model that will be used as the template for immortality, must no longer exist. For as I understand it, dimensional planes dictate the molecular atomic designs that consolidate into form. So, outside of the wave density of third dimension, do we still have the same body structure? Now, I will stop at this point to discuss this part of the topic tonight, and after we have explored it sufficiently with the good doctor, we will continue to precursor to the second, as a precursor of the second. So now, the question to the good doctor: is immortality and spiritual transcendence from the present level of consciousness dimensions that we're in, is that in conflict? Do we have to keep the same template, being that we want to become immortal? Do we still keep the same template that is all open to flaws, to the slings and arrows, as Shakespeare says, of outrageous fortune? Is immortality now, as we begin to transcend our spirituality into more refined matter, is there a bridge that you have found by your Gagut? Is there a bridge to that immortality and spirituality? If so, can you please relate it to us? Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Oyibo.
Dr. Oyibo, you have your board behind you too.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you, brother.
Right, brother. We follow everything.
Yeah, well, well, now I know that I'm really home. I'd like to thank awesome brother Phil Valentine. And one thing that makes me so happy is the fact that so many of you recognize the gem that we have in the brother. He represents the essence of our being as a people. Here is an individual who not only did not go through a Harvard, but shuns them. And so you ask yourself, but how did he get the wisdom?
Right.
As if wisdom is supposed to come from Harvard. That is the essence of our being. This is the real knowledge. That which he presents to you is the real knowledge. The others copied or tried to copy that knowledge, in order to present it to the world. And what has happened is that they have fallen short, to say the least, in terms of presenting the truth. You see, when you tell the truth, there's one feature that you display when you tell the truth. That is that you become uninhibited. When you telling the